Yo, what is up guys? It's the Goblin and welcome back to another Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War video. In tonight's video, we're going to be talking about the best class setup for the M16 tactical rifle, which is a very strong gun in this game. Although the AUG and the M16 did receive decent nerfs, I guess you could say, in the latest patch update, these two weapons still really stand out in this game. And even though Cold War has pretty fast time to kill guns across the board, these weapons that can kill in one burst are so damn effective and very satisfying when you do get those one burst kills. And even if you're not getting those one burst kills, you should be killing people in two bursts unless you're completely missing your shots. And even two bursts isn't that bad because of the fire rate of these weapons, or the time in between the bursts isn't really that long. So even the two burst kills feel pretty quickly, and those one burst kills can just be absolutely incredible. So I still think this is one of the top weapons in this game, and you still see quite a few people running around with these burst weapons, you know, the AUG and the M16. So I'm going to talk about the best class setup, in my opinion, for the M16 when you have it maxed out, as well as when you're going through those ranks, you have it like, you know, a middle level, because going from level 1 to 55 with all your weapons in this game does take quite a bit of time. Even with the double weapon XP, the weapon leveling is quite a grind. So we're going to talk about that, show you guys the class setup that I was using in this game as far as the Nuketown setup for the perks and the equipment, and then also show you guys, you know, go in depth with the attachments for the max rank and throughout the rank. So if you guys will enjoy this video, if you guys could smack a like on this thing, that would absolutely be incredible. Let's go ahead and go for 188 likes. If we could hit that, that would be absolutely amazing. Smack that like button and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new and not already subscribed, and let's go ahead and get right into it. So I'll show up on the screen. This is the equipment and the perk greed setup that I was using for this Nuketown gameplay. Stim shot, Semtex, and field mic. Usually I go with stim shot, frag grenade, and field mic. However, on Nuketown, where it's a bit of a smaller map, I find that Semtex just, you know, every second matters, and standing out in the open, even though you know don't have to stand out in the open to cook a grenade, tossing Semtex is a lot easier on the smaller maps, in my opinion. And unless you're trying, you really care, and like if you're trying to bounce it, you know, the grenades into that top window and stuff like that, yeah, the frag will probably be better. But if you're just trying to toss it and keep it moving, the Semtex is pretty good for a smaller map like Nuketown. C4 also can be good on close range maps, but it is a little bit slower in, you know, the way that you throw and everything like that. It's pretty effective, but it's just a little bit, it takes a little bit more time to plan out and make your moves with that. Then as far as the secondary Gallo SA-12 shotgun, pretty standard secondary, 5 attachments on the M16, which we'll get into. And then the perk greed setup in this that I was using for the Nuketown, flak jacket, tac mask, very standard stuff. You basically, I mean, why wouldn't you rock those two if you're playing on a map like Nuketown? Scavenger, assassin, which I do like scavenger on a gun like this when you're playing more, you know, this is a weapon where you want to sort of post up in the middle of Nuketown, or post up if you're playing other maps and playing the objectives, or post up around objectives, or even in like cutoff points to cut off enemies who are trying to run to the objectives. Scavenger, and then assassin, which is just a nice thing to have because you just get a little bit extra score there, and also makes it a little bit easier to notice when enemies are going on streaks. They pop up on the mini map and are a lot more noticeable. And then as far as the perk 3s, I go with ninja, which is definitely my go-to perk 3, and then cold-blooded. And you don't see me use cold-blooded too much. The reason why I put cold-blooded on this setup is because it was Nuketown. Now usually I would say you probably, if you're playing a bigger map and you want to be a little more stealthy, you'd go with ninja and ghost on this setup. But however, ghost on Nuketown, it's kind of like, you know, you're not going to really be in many spots where the enemies don't predict you anyway, because ghost, you know, it's such a small map, and ghost keeps you off of that UAV, and people are still calling a bunch of UAVs. But cold-blooded can help you with the score streaks, which do big damage on Nuketown, of course, because of the way the score streak setup works in this game. Even if you're winning the game and doing a lot of damage to the enemies, it could be late in that domination or hardpoint game, and they start calling in freaking you know, chopper gunners, or if not chopper gunners, at least helicopters or stuff like that. And having cold-blooded can be pretty nice for that, but that's obviously all up to your preferences, and that was just the setup for the Nuketown. Now, as like I said, you could customize that probably on a bigger map, go with ghost. Now, as far as this weapon, 5 attachments I find is really nice. I like the 8 attachment setup on the AUG. I go all in with the 8 attachments on the AUG for that burst weapon, and then with the M16 I rock it back with, you know, the 6 perks, 5 attachments. So what are those 5 attachments? Now I'll go through what I think is going to be the best for the maxed out M16, and then for when you're in like those middle ranks. So for the maxed out M16, or for any M16 setup, I like the Millstop reflex sight, which is just a pretty standard red dot and a pretty nice, you know, circular red dot. 20.5 task force barrel. I think that this is the best for the maxed M16. 14% up on the damage, 50% on the effective damage range, 50% on the bullet velocity, and you do lose a bit of recoil, but once again, recoil isn't that crazy, especially on a burst gun in this game, because you're going to be killing in 1 to 2 bursts. Now with the barrel, there is some competition and there is quite a few different options for the barrel. There's one that increases your fire rate and your damage by 14%. There's one that just increases your fire rate by 25%. However, those two, they sound amazing, and those are amazing things, but they bring down your effective damage range by, I believe it's like 25%. With this one, you sort of get the 14% damage. With this weapon, it does 50 damage. That goes up to 57, which isn't really, doesn't really change too much, maybe at long ranges, and definitely if your enemies are weak. On a map like Nuketown, you want ones that, whether you're going with the 20.5 task barrel or the other barrel that gives you 14% damage and 14% fire rate, it is nice to that extra damage when you're shooting enemies that are probably already weak, or not probably already weak, but some of them will be already weak because Nuketown is just a hectic map like that. And then getting the effective damage range, bullet velocity, those are very effective stats in this game, especially on a weapon like this. So I think that is going to be the go-to barrel for the maxed out M16. Next is for the magazine, the Salvo 54 round fast mag. Now with this one, I mean, it is a burst gun, so any of these magazines, you're sitting you're pretty good with it. But 80% on the magazine ammo capacity, the starting ammo, everything around this is really nice on the last magazine you unlock. And then losing 25% on the ADS time does kind of suck on a weapon like this, although for the most part, this is a weapon that, and you'll see later, these attachments that just make the strafing speed on this weapon go crazy are just out of this world. So that's probably like the biggest strengths of this weapon are, how strong burst weapons are in this game, and the strafing and winning gunfights like that. But losing 25% on the ADS time, it does hurt a little bit, and that's why with the next one, I say go with the airborne elastic wrap, which gives you 30% on the aim down sight time. So right there, you've made up for that, plus 5%, and then your 90% flinch resistance aim while going prone. Those aren't going to be the most effective. Flinch resistance, it's okay to have, and on a weapon like this, actually, I guess it could be decent, but it's not the most significant thing in this game. And I'd probably say the ADS time, it's definitely more important than that. And aiming while going prone, you're not really going to be drop shotting aiming down sights with this weapon, like really ever, like for the most part, because that's more of like an SMG thing. But what do you lose? Sprint to fire time, which does suck a little bit, and shooting move speed, which does suck also, because when you're strafing the shooting move speed, you lose. But that 30% ADS time, a little bit of help on that flinch resistance, I think it's definitely worth it. As far as I wouldn't say this is the most important attachment, but I just think it's a cool one to rock with. You could definitely mix this up and take this off and go with something different on the muzzle, or go with, like, if you want that flashlight to be able to see people from a farther distance, with a flashlight when you aim down sights, you could go with that as well. I think that if you are going to take one attachment off of the maxed out M16, it would probably be this one, and rock with a replacement. And then the last attachment, and this one is just so damn important, the SAS combat stock. 10% on the shooting move speed, which is nice. And what does that say? Does that say 78% aim walking move speed, and all you lose is 15% hip fire accuracy? This attachment is ridiculous. And with this thing, it just makes you like, you don't even need this because the first stock in this game, which we'll talk about in a minute, I think that one gives you like 65%. So for some reason, this weapon, just the attachments and the stocks are really, really important on this weapon. Getting that aim walking move speed is pretty important, and just absolutely crazy with this type of weapon. That's why you can win those gunfights, strafing, posting up, and using that M16. So I think that attachment is really damn important. That's the 5 attachment setup that I would say to go with for the maxed M16. Now, when you're leveling up this weapon and it's a bit lower in the ranks, what are some attachments that you would throw on? I'd still recommend going with the Millstop Reflex, which you get fairly early, I think, as far as a red dot sight. Then you can slap on the Flash Guard 5.56 muzzle, which is unlocked pretty early on like every gun, and 90% muzzle flash concealment, or at least every gun in like assault rifles and SMGs. That muzzle flash concealment is a nice thing to have, and an early attachment you can throw on. Next is with the barrel, and like I said, you're basically going between those middle barrel options. You have the one that gives you 25% fire rate, and the other one that gives you 14% fire rate and 14% damage. Now the damage isn't going to make this is all comes down to preference, and it really is niche, and it depends on what you're trying. Are you shooting more enemies that are going to be weak already, or are you going to get more 2 burst kills? And you want, I think just going with the 25% on the fire rate is nice. Losing that effective damage range, you have to understand that that's going to hurt you at range, but that fire rate increase is going to be pretty important on a weapon like this, and allows this weapon to do a lot more probably at those medium to close ranges, although I don't recommend using this weapon at close range, but those medium ranges can definitely be helpful. And then with the magazine, 45, like I said, I mean, it's a burst weapon. Any of these magazines are pretty good. I'd say slap on that 45 round speed mag as soon as you unlock it, and then as you move up to the 54 round mag, and then ultimately the 54 round fast mag. And then of course for the tactical stock, you want to get that one that gives you the 78% on the aim walking move speed, as well as whatever it gave you the shooting move speed, but 65% on aim walking move speed for the level 1 stock. I mean, this thing is absolutely crazy and makes this a weapon that even when you're early in those ranks, like I said, you got a muzzle on this thing, you got a red dot on this thing, you got some sort of magazine, you got a tactical stock. This weapon can do quite a bit of stuff, and it's pretty good, I would say. It's not something that you have to like get this weapon maxed out before it becomes very useful. This is a weapon that can be used as soon as you get you know, some decent attachments for it, and definitely a fun weapon to use in this game even after the nerf. Still one of the strongest weapons in this game. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this or did enjoy this video. Thanks for watching. Drop a like on this thing. Let me know your thoughts on the M16 down in the comment section down below. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and I'll catch you on the next one, and I'm out. Peace.